All right, now that the dust is kind of settled, let's talk about the state and the fate of the U.S. men's soccer team after not making it out of the group stage at this year's Copa America, with one half of the soccer Cooligans and one of the hosts of the morning footy. Alexis Guerreros, my guy, appreciate you leaving the studio, bearing through the traffic, and hopping on with us, my man. You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. I found parking very quickly in Brooklyn, which helped me get here in time. Traffic don't like to play with me, or play nice. So I'm happy to be here. It's an honor, man.
All right, we were hoping the USA men's team played nice last night, but they didn't. So now we're in the situation we're in right now. So give me one big Scrabble word to describe Team USA's performance at Copa America and explain why, please.
I mean, you could a big Scrabble word, cataclysm, calamity, catastrophe. I mean, you pick it. You know, if my in-laws would say it about me anytime I'm over, which isn't often, they don't always invite me. But this was just this was horrific, man. This was an abject failure from the top to the bottom. I'm talking coaching staff, head coach, players, front office, all of U.S. soccer, everyone involved in U.S. men's national team in one way, shape, or form needs to hang their head in shame at what happened to host a Copa America on our shores and to go out, you know, getting quote unquote grouped, going out in the group, not getting a chance to even play in the knockout rounds, which, you know, we've reached the semifinal of this competition before. To not get to that semifinal again, which I thought quarterfinals was a bare minimum, to not even get to that far. It's something that if we take ourselves serious as a footballing nation, a lot of questions need to be answered and a lot of questions need to be asked. And I feel like a lot of times U.S. soccer doesn't ask those questions. They like to hide behind some of the business success that they've had, and you can't take that away from them. They've certainly found a way to make and generate a lot of great money, great income, and great interest for this sport. But if we're going to get to that next level, if we're going to be successful in hosting a World Cup in 2026, not just successful in hosting it, but hosting it with pride and having America and casual fans become more committed and having non-casual fans become even more casual and more committed, if we're going to win the hearts and minds of this nation in 2026, we cannot do what we did in this competition. Not at all.
Yeah, I'm big on accountability, man, but a lot of people are pointing fingers at the refs, particularly on that non-offsides call on Uruguay's goal. Was it offsides or not offsides, man?
Who cares? Who cares? That wasn't a goal we scored. That was a goal they scored. Guess what? Imagine it is, by the way, it is offside. And imagine that for some reason VAR doesn't give it to us. And I mean, there's a billion conspiracy theories, and I might side with all of you. But imagine that call goes our way. Does that put a point on our end? No. That leaves us 0-0, which gives us 1 point in the standings. And that's not enough to go through. I'm sick and tired of people worrying about whether this was offside or not. I'm sick and tired of people worrying about whether the yellow card and the advantage was given, and I've never seen that happen in the same motion before. Clearly the ref was overwhelmed, and this a match of this stature was above his pay grade. Fine. That doesn't excuse us from getting one shot on target in the first half. This doesn't excuse us for putting in an additional midfielder that's defensive versus adding someone that could potentially give us a goal. This nation deserved for this men's national team to go out and play brave. They played bravely in the press. They played bravely in how physical they got with Uruguay, which we knew that's what they were going to do to us. And we matched them at that intensity. We showed an intensity that we needed to show from the beginning. It reminds me of a relationship that's failing where the guy at the last minute decides to do all the things the woman wanted and show that he cares and show that he has, you know, some type of emotional attachment, but it's a little too late. And that's exactly what it was for us. Whether that offside would have gone our way or not, it does not change our fortunes. We still would be out today. Stop worrying about that. Worry about the fact that we didn't have enough, that with the most talented group of players we've ever had, we didn't have enough to score a goal in this game.
All right, so we got the most talented group. Let's talk leadership, because Gregg Berhalter, 7 wins, 1 draw, and 6 losses in his last 13 games as head coach. The vitriol online and on TV, as you know, everyone's saying he needs to be replaced before the World Cup in 2026. Man, as a pro athlete, former pro athlete, I'm tired of how we live in a we need to fire them type culture in sports. But is he the guy that can lead this team to some sort of real success?
You know what? I've always backed Gregg Berhalter when he got hired the first time. I thought he was a great a great hire. He was an American. And by the way, quick note for everyone watching, if you're not a massive soccer fan, certainly not an international soccer fan, no team in the history of the world has ever won the World Cup with a foreign manager. So there is some interest in hiring someone from within your country who understands the players, the mentality of the players, the system the players came through. So I understand hiring someone like a Gregg Berhalter, who at the time was a very progressive manager within MLS, with the Columbus Crew, had just won MLS Cup. Had just gotten to a few MLS Cups, and it's shown some real progress and some real attractive football. And as we got out of not qualifying for the 2018 World Cup, he showed that he might be the right guy to take some of these very young and raw players all around the age of 20, 21 years old and help build them up to this point. Okay, we're here now. I don't know if he's the right guy to take us to that next step. He got us here. You've shown his record. It's not a terrible record. He's done a good job. But as of late, since being rehired after the Nations League a few years ago, I haven't seen progress in the way this team plays. I haven't seen this team hit what we thought their potential was. I've seen an acceptance of mediocrity, and I don't care about the controversies and people's parents texting who and whatever. I don't care about any of that. Dude, I'm born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. Greg is from Jersey. I kind of get it. That to me comes with sport. All of that is legal in Jersey. You could text people saying I got dirt on you. That's common for friends if you're friends in Jersey. So I get it. You know what I mean? That never bothered me. What bothers me is I think maybe the arm around the shoulder, the stories that he uses to inspire, all those things that he's done to get them to this point, at this point maybe have gone stale. And I don't know if he's the guy to get us to the next one. I know you were a big NFL football player. You understand, right? Yep. There's some players that can get you to the 20-yard line. He might not be the guy that gets us to that touchdown. And I don't know if he's that. So I think now might be the right time to move on from a Gregg Berhalter, simply because a little less than 2 years left until the World Cup. That's just enough time for a new manager to really maybe be able to implement something and get a new manager bump going and see this group of players get to another potential. But if we don't do it now, it's going to be too late.
We'll talk about this new group of players, man. I get the coach is all about the X's and O's, but like you said, I'm a former professional football player. I'm big on the Jimmies and Joes. How much of this blame falls on the new generation of athletes, the Weston McKennies, the Christian Pulisics, this new generation that's supposed to be the ones that took what the old school dudes did and get us over this hump or bring us to this new promised land of soccer here in America?
Some blame definitely got to go to them, right? And they wouldn't shy away from that. They would tell you they're probably all looking at each other or at each other in that locker room or looking themselves in the mirror after that game. In particular, Tim Weah, who I'm a big fan of and I think is a great player. But obviously that red card against Panama really put us in a bit of a hole. I think there's a few players that could stand up and said they gave their all, and they really showed a new level. Christian Pulisic being one of them, the so-called superstar of this team, if you consider this team having any superstars. But I think as a whole, you have to ask yourself, if you're one of those players, did you do enough? But I think more of the blame goes not towards the ingredients, but the chef that was hired to put those ingredients together. I think the ingredients are great. I think we've shown a standard and we've showed a quality that we've never had in this nation before. What we haven't shown from this team is that grit, that fight. We showed a little bit of it in the first half against Uruguay, but to go in match after match and say we're going to fight tooth and nail to make sure we get a point and we put some respect on America's name when it comes to soccer is something I haven't seen every match from this crew. And my theory is that comes from direction above. And there's a sign in the match that points to that, this match against Uruguay. There's a moment where Bolivia equalizes against Panama. The two games are happening concurrently, which immediately puts us in second place because we were drawing 0-0 with Uruguay. And the coach tells the team, hey, it's 1-1, which is a sign to ease off the gas, hit the brakes a little bit. That to me shows an intent and a mind that is of weakness, not of we can compete with these guys. It's hey, maybe relax a little bit. Nah, we need to be going 100 miles an hour. We need to show them you're not going to step into our stadiums and you're not going to get an easy win, not against us.
And people don't underestimate how that message resonates to the players. Like if you're trying, if a player feels like you're trying to play scared or just trying to play not to lose, they're not going to give it their all. Especially, I'm just talking as the football player in me, not soccer or whatever. But absolutely, like if a player knows that the coach doesn't want to put his foot on somebody's neck, then that's going to be a problem within that locker room, within that organization. I'm all about looking ahead as well. So how's this team going to rally? and bring back this soccer fan base? What's next for this U.S. men's national team?
I don't know, because my mind is in two different places, right? Like, I think of the footballing world, if you will, the soccer world, and then I think about what it takes to market something to the U.S., fan base, or just the U.S. in general. And I understand that, how something is said and with the energy with which something is said is almost as important as the words used. And I understand that is in order to win over the hearts and minds of this nation come 2026, which is really the most important thing if we really want to take ourselves as a footballing nation. If we want to see ourselves develop players that play at the highest quality clubs, that are going to the Real Madrids, that are going to the Barcelonas, that are going to the Manchester Uniteds, that are going to the Arsenals, that are going to the PSGs, that are going to the Bayern Munichs. If we want to get to that where that's a regular thing, it's going to take this 2026 team inspiring the youth, because it's a 10-year cycle, right? You get the 9 to 12-year-olds, interested. They're going to go to those academies. They're going to go play their hearts out and develop into great players that are going to be influential 10 years later. And if it's going to take that, it's going to take a group of players that are seen as cool, as fun, as really good at their sport, because you want these kids to be inspired by them. And I think we have the makings of that, and it's going to take a manager that can speak to this nation on more than just a press conference and on the side of a pitch. We're going to need the one that could do the rounds on TV. We're going to need the ones that could do the ESPNs, the CBSs, the Paramount Pluses, the New York Posts. We're going to need them that could do all those things and really draw attention from people that aren't always familiar with the sport and get them to want to root for this team. I saw a little bit of that. I started getting texts from people who I know don't watch soccer that were watching last night going, yo, what's going on with this ref? Or, yo, why is this player over here? And I'm like, how did you even know this? You never watched this sport. I'm starting to see those signs. We need an entire group of people that are committed to making that happen. And on the footballing side, we need more players developed. We got some great young players. Kevin Paredes, who's playing in Europe. So many young superstars that I think will be ready come this World Cup, that I think could help make a difference in this team. But we're going to need a coach that's the right chef to cook these ingredients into a beautiful dish.
It's almost like how the marketing has just breathed a newfound life and energy into women's basketball. You got a Caitlin Clark,
exactly.
You got Angel Reese. You're pumping that name, pump those names out there, and you're seeing people follow and watch these players. And we're getting a great product in the WNBA. Alexis, tell the people they can find you, man. Shout out the show as well.
Yeah, obviously check us out every day, 8 to 10 a.m. on Paramount Plus, Golazo Network. The show is called Morning Footy. Obviously, you can catch me on Cooligans every Monday and Thursday, although this week it's Friday because of the holiday. Check us out. We just joined Yahoo Sports, which is a lot of fun. Shouts to Christian, who was on here previously. And then if you want to catch me on anything, at Not Alexis on everything, NOTALEXIS.
My man, thanks for hopping on with us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.